Hello there, guys. My name is Lil Turtle. I'm currently ranked 158 on the Druid Seasonal Ladder for Project Diablo 2, and today we are going to be talking about the Summoning Druid. Now, this is a build that has been popping off quite a bit recently. The popularity has been growing as people kind of are starting to understand more the potential of the spec and what it can accomplish. And today I'm just going to talk about a few things. There's already a really good guide on Reddit for the Summoning Druid that somebody put together. Shout out to Fungus Keeper for doing that. That's a super dope guide that I still use even to this day. What I'm going to do is go through the skilling order from 1 to 91, what I believe would be the optimal route to take in terms of clearing efficiency and in terms of damage. I already put 19 points into Raven by accident. I'm not going to pop another respec token for this. But yeah, I'm just going to take you through some of my personal opinions, some ideas that I have about the nuances and intricacies of the class that I didn't really discover until, maybe 100 plus hours into the class. And we're going to talk about some of the end game best in slot gear, especially regarding the Mercenary, which is a highly debated topic. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on what I think is the best Mercenary with the best weapons, the best setup that you can possibly get. I'm also going to talk a little bit about, beginning, early, ladder, kind of what you should aim for moving into the end game as you start to gear up your character. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to go through the skilling path here. So yeah, I put 19 points into Raven. So let's just pretend that um, that we're level 5 here. So basically, anyways, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to prioritize Raven as you're leveling up, and you're going to need to put a point into Heart of Wolverine as soon as that opens up. And then it's super simple. The idea is you just want to get as many wolves out as you can while still maxing Ravens by level 30. So what you can do is basically just put 5 points into Spirit Wolf, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as that kind of opens up as you're leveling. That's going to allow you to have 5 wolves out at once. It's totally up to you, but at some point you're going to want to slot 1 point into Gust. It's super important. I would recommend doing that as early as you possibly can, but that's totally up to you. It's not really going to change too much, especially in the early game. As soon as Direwolf opens up, slap 3 points into that bad boy. And then while prioritizing maxing Ravens, by the time you hit level 30, you should be able to get a level 20 Ravens and then a level 1 summon Grizzly. Once Grizzly opens up, max that bad boy out so that you can get 2 Grizzlies out on the field at once. Doubles the efficiency of the skill point per point and gives you a ton of utility while playing alone or while playing in groups. Then from there, I would personally max Spirit Wolf. Now that they've fixed the health on Spirit Wolf, they survive a lot easier. So having the 5 out instead of the 3, it's again totally personal preference. It doesn't really matter that much. Just pick a wolf that you like and max that bad boy out. So I'm gonna max both of those out. Now for the rest of the build, it's really easy. Don't go into Poison Creeper. Don't go into Carrion Vine. They're only gonna hold you back. I'm telling you, fam. From here, you have an important choice to make. Now, you can choose to dump your points into Heart of the Wolverine for pure damage. I highly recommend just going balls to the walls with the damage. That's what I personally do. Or you can start going into Gust to kind of remove the cooldown. I think you can get it down to 0.5 seconds at level 30 is where it caps. Could be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. I recommend fully going into Heart of the Wolverine, but you could do like a back and forth thing. You could go 1 into Gust, 1 into Heart of the Wolverine, whatever it is that you want to do. So at level 91, I've almost maxed everything in the summon tree that's worth maxing. Oak Sage currently, I don't think it's worth it. At my level, it gives 1200 life, which would essentially double my life pool while my equips are on here. But the damage is where it's at, guys, especially for, maximizing your clearing efficiency and stuff like that. Now, in order to figure out where you're going to put your stat points, it's actually super easy, and I recommend not worrying too much, especially when you're starting out. Just have enough strength so that you can use your best piece of gear. So for me, I would need a total of 58 strength here so that I can use my lidless wall, and I believe that that would open up all the rest of my gear as well. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to put 58 points into strength. Now, I do use the Scalders sometimes, so that requires around, I think, 98 strength. So for me right now, using Scalders, I'm going to go up to 98 strength, but always just keep it as low as you possibly can while still being able to use all of your gear, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm going to just go 90, 98, I think it is. I could be wrong. Plus, I need that for Heart of the Oak anyway. Or do I? No, I only need 41 for Heart of the Oak, but when I use my Scalders, I'd like to have 98. Basically, the rest of your points are just going to go into Vitality here. So, yeah, it gives me a nice 1100 life. So, again, yeah, super easy to figure out your stat points. Just look at your items and kind of figure out what the minimum amount of strength that you need is. So, going into Hell mode, you're going to need to start strategizing a little bit more with your minions. You can easily get through normal mode and nightmare mode, just kind of throwing wolves out and AFKing and letting everything kind of run its course there. But once it starts getting a little more challenging and you don't quite have the skill points to just clear super efficiently, there's a couple key things that I just kind of want to touch on that you should probably use strategically. So in our kit, we have many summons, of course. The summon Grizzly Bear is going to be probably the most used summon, so I would recommend keybinding that to something close to your F1 to F4 keys or whatever you prefer to use. The way it works is anytime you drop a Grizzly, it's going to distract any nearby enemies, kind of like a taunt in World of Warcraft, and it's going to keep you and your party completely safe from damage. So if you see archers or any ranged enemies that could be, potentially dangerous, just plop a grizzly down and just watch. See that grizzly, how he's just absorbing all of those magical bolts from those ghosts? That's nice. Super nice in group play. It's good to kind of drop some bears down and then kind of leapfrog them as you're moving ahead and then letting your wolves kind of catch up with them to kind of set the pace and provide protection for your team and for yourself. But interestingly enough, wolves actually work the exact same way. So that's what I love the most about the class is at first glance it seems super simple and it seems super AFK, but once you start macroing and kind of managing your summons efficiently, it really feels badass because you can tie up so many enemies at the same time because you've got 8 wolves total, right? And then you've got the 2 grizzlies and all 10 of those summons can hold attention. So if I drop a spirit wolf here, I'll try and show you here. Now the hitbox is a little bit smaller than the grizzly, so it's not gonna absorb as much threat. But if I drop like a spirit wolf in the back, they're gonna attack the spirit wolf the same way that they would attack a grizzly bear. So you can have your main line of grizzly bears out, just doing all kinds of work, and then if there's a straggler or two, you can throw a spirit wolf down on them, no problem, and that'll pick up the aggro. Of course, you're always going to want to have your Heart of the Wolverine out. It really increases the damage of your summons. At level 34 here, we've got 251%. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over that. Drop your grizzly bears, drop your wolves, protect your party, and protect yourself. Obviously, summon ravens in between all casts. It's great to just spam summon ravens. They actually do quite a lot of damage at later levels. And then as you start to get these summoning charms in, it's gonna really just exponentially amp your damage up. Alright, so I actually did have to respec again so that I could put 1 extra point into dexterity so that I could use my puzzler staff. So that's kind of embarrassing, but that's okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Telestomping. Now, this is the best part of the class, in my opinion. Basically, what it is anytime you use your Gust ability or a Blink ability, see, right? It stacks all of your summons in one place at the same time. This is the most important thing that you need to understand while playing a Summoning Druid because that will allow all of your summons. So basically, like the 12 ravens, the 5 wolves, the 3 dire wolves, and the 2 grizzlies all to get their auto attacks off or their basic attacks off at the exact same time. This allows for some huge nukes. You can pretty much delete elite packs if you're teleporting right on their heads like that. It does leave you pretty vulnerable, so make sure you have your Cyclone armor up anytime you go to Telestomp, just in case there's like a strong elemental ability. You don't want to get hit by that and die. But using your teleport takes a lot of practice to kind of understand. You got to get right on the outside of the pack. You want to get close enough that all of the attacks are going to hit the closest enemy, but not so close that you're going to get stuck in the middle of a pack and die. So practicing that gust and the telestomping is it's really gonna. I'm gonna try and find an elite pack here just so you guys can kind of see how fast it deletes things. Here we go. Yeah, boom, just immediately deletes it, right? So the reason I'm telling you this is A, it's gonna speed up your clear speed by a ton, and then B, if you can pick up a Naja's Puzzler staff and put it on Switch, it is gonna change your game. And it's basically gonna allow you to go full Heart of the Wolverine without putting any points into Gust, without losing any mobility. The only downside to this is you might lose some all resist if you have resist all on your main and offhand weapons like I do. Kind of makes you a little bit more squishy, but it allows you to rapidly reposition your entire pack so that you can just fly through elite packs, one-shotting them every time you blink. I'm going to just kind of go through here and show you a little example of that, how I usually play with the staff. So I just swap long enough to get the blink off, and then I swap back to my Heart of the Oak, just so I don't take any unnecessary damage. But you can see how this would really increase your your clear speed here. Not to mention, it allows you to kind of skip walls. If you've already used Gust and it's on cooldown, you don't have to panic or worry. You can just use your Natchez Puzzler Staff to get out of there. In my opinion, this is the most underused item by Summoning Druids, and I would highly recommend that every single Summoning Druid have one of these staffs in their toolkit. It's a little bit finicky to use. I personally keybind the E key right next to the W key for the swap, just so that I can press that blink right away. If you do use up all 3 charges, it will take the blink off of your right click ability, and you'll need to press E again to kind of reassign it. So that does get a little annoying sometimes. It is a budget enigma though. I'm pretty sure you can pick up these staffs for like a pull rune, on the trade forum. So it's a really good buy. I would highly recommend doing that. Now, once you start getting to the end game, I would recommend going for your full Alder set. It's going to give you a ton of survivability. It's going to give you a ton of magic find, and it's going to give you a ton of plus skills. And it's going to act as a really great base armor set for you to start gearing up towards, the Rain, the Heart of the Oak, the Lidless Wall 2 socket that you can throw all resist or lightning resistant to get your resistances up. Oh, I'm in a normal game right now. I'm going to just remake that on Hell. But yeah, I would highly recommend going for Alders. If you can find a Scalder's chest, it's really good for Magic Find. You don't want to stack too much Magic Find though, because the higher your Magic Find is, you actually get diminishing returns on that. So I would recommend aiming between the 250 to the 300% Magic Find mark. And then other than that, prioritizing damage and survivability so that you can clear as fast as you can. You can throw a Magic Find dagger or Sword of Alibaba and shield on your Switch if you want to kind of swap for the killing blows. It doesn't really penalize us too much because we already have all of our summons out anyway. What I usually do, my Scalders is on my mule right now, but I will start the game with Rain for all of my summons because I've got 44 summons with Rain on. And then that way, when you summon all of the creatures, they will maintain the stats that the level 43 skill does, and then you can just swap off to like a Scalders or a Magic Find piece or whatever, right? And then that will maintain the level 44 stats that I've summoned them with, and then basically I'm only losing out on the Ravens when I resummon them. But doing that every game is kind of annoying. It's kind of min-maxy, and you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Moving into the late game, you're going to want to deck your Mercenary out. Now, I just want to give a huge shout out to some of the druids on the Discord here, especially Bicetta and Anima. Both of them are I consider them the Alpha Chad druids of the Discord. They just kind of know everything, and they've always been there for me anytime I have a question. They've basically been guiding my entire progression path, so I just want to give them a huge shout out. Thank you guys so much for all the information you do. That being said, there's going to be a few differing opinions on this next section here. We're going to be talking about the mercenary and what is the best mercenary to use for the summoning druid. Now, I would say when you're just starting out and you're running Nightmare and Hell, using the Act 5 mercenary is pretty sick because they give you the Might aura. The Might aura increases the damage of all of your summons by a flat percentage, so it's really crazy, especially in the early game. They can like double your damage on your summons. That being said, as you start to move into the late game, I strongly believe that the Act 1 Fire Mercenary is hands down the best merc that you can use. The reason is because A, it gives you that Vigor aura for the increased move speed. It makes you freaking rip, which increases your clear time by a ton. B, you can use a bow such as Witchwild String or a Wrath bow to pretty much get 100% amplify damage uptime on all of your packs. This will break pretty much all physical immunities. Witchwild String is really cheap as well. I think it costs like around a Malrune or so right now. But it's super good, especially if you get like Pierce gear. Like, see how this has, 18% chance to pierce. The more attacks that pierce, the higher, the more chances there are for the amplified damage on striking to go off. Of course, with a Wrath bow, you don't really have to worry about that because it's 30% damage or 30% chance to cast amplify damage. But with a Witchwild String, it's only 10%. So having that pierce really helps keep that uptime on the amplified damage. Also, getting the Templar's Might. So I was super lucky. I traded basically my firstborn son for this Templar's Might, and then I got the strength up on my Merc using Andariels and Saigons as well as Nosferidu's. So that gives me lifesteal on my Merc, so she basically never dies. But more importantly, she does give a level 8 Might aura to all of my minions. So we've got the Might aura, we've got the Vigor, we've got the amplified damage. All that we're really missing at this point is fanaticism. A lot of people, there is a lot of debate going on about the bow for the Act 1 mercenary. Some people use faith to get the fanaticism aura. However, Anima did some number crunching and it is pinned on the Druid Discord. And basically, what he's saying is the Fanaticism aura doesn't give us enough attack speed for our wolves to hit the next threshold of the attack speed breakpoints. So I know that kind of sounds kind of complicated, but basically, you have your breakpoints here. You can see my faster cast rate is, when I get 4%, 10%. That means in between 4 and 10, having faster cast rate isn't going to do anything. The only time it actually affects anything is when you hit these thresholds. It's the exact same for attack speed. I don't know the exact attack speed threshold on wolves, but apparently the 33% that you would get from a level 15 fanaticism aura isn't enough to make them attack any faster, so you're only getting the flat damage increase, which is why more summoning druids are opting to go for a wrath bow now instead of the faith bow. That being said, I think the ultimate play would be, once you get the funds, to throw a bear main hand on your switch so that you can summon everything with Heart of the Oak and Lidless Wall, and then you can basically switch to a bear and then maybe a Magic Find Shield or something like that, and then you can have the Fanaticism aura on top of the Might aura, on top of everything. I'm pretty sure that would just break the game at that point because of all of the damage going out. Now, some people like to run an Act 2 Mercenary with Blessed Aim or the Defense Aura. I just personally have no use for any of that. You can put a Reaper's Toll on him to also get amp damage, or you can use the Act 5 Mercenary with Gavel of Pain to get amp damage as well, and the Might Aura. That's a pretty solid choice too. I can't really knock that choice. However, without the move speed of the Act 1 Merc, I feel like it just really slows us down, even with Naj's Puzzler Staff. So yeah, a lot of debate and a lot of contention over what the best mercenary is, but I gotta tell you guys, it's has to be the Act 1 Merc with the Templar's Might and the Wrath. It does wonders. So yeah, I mean, once you start getting into the end game, I would reference that guide, the Reddit guide. I'll put that in the link description below, so you guys can check that out and go over all the best in slot gear. I'm not going to talk too much about that. And then just to kind of finish things off, I figured I would go do just a River of Flame run, a Chaos Sanctuary, just to show you guys how fast and how efficient this can be at clearing. I think I can do this in like 2 minutes. So just feast your eyes here. I'm gonna kind of try and talk about what I'm doing as well. Right now, obviously, I'm just skipping to the sanctuary. Gonna try and get my elemental armor up ASAP here. And then we're just gonna be steamrolling packs. I'm gonna let my blank charges on my staff regenerate a little bit so that we can get some huge movement going on. I usually just run past the trash packs. There's a champion pack here. We'll just delete them. No problem. But you can see the power of Naj's Puzzler Staff being able to group all the summons up. It's utility wise, I can't live without it, man. I've tried using a Magic Find switch and I just can't live without those 3 blank charges. Once I get Enigma, I would consider going for a Beast offhand or a Magic Find offhand, but not until Enigma, which is probably a ways away. So basically just spamming Ravens, throwing down those Grizzly Bears to kind of distract, and then putting a Spirit Wolf on all the stragglers. At this point, I clear so fast that it's hard to justify using that kind of strategy and not just telestomping everything. I use a lot more strategy and I'm a lot more careful in maps or when I'm playing in large groups, especially 8-man groups. You will still get one banged all the time. So it's important to be super careful with your teleports, but not so much on single player here. Players 1. I know this pack usually gives people a lot of trouble, but you can see the amplified damage is always up from the Wrath Bow. And then of course, like, all of the auras, Heart of the Wolverine, everything just really amping up the damage there. And Diablo. Boom. And that's the show, fam. So I think that was like 2 minutes. It was pretty fast, but you can see the clear speed's definitely there. In comparison to Shapeshift Druids and Elemental Druids, I can't really speak too much on that because I've only played the Summoning Druid and I haven't really seen too much of the other ones. I would imagine that the Wind Druid could get pretty quick at clearing, especially when it gets up to the like the plus 40 skill points. That could probably be pretty beastly. But I just couldn't imagine running without my wolf pack. It's just so fun. It's very rewarding to play, and yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. If you have any questions, feel free to ping me on Discord or just go to the Discord. Honestly, go to the Discord Druid chat because Anima and Bisetta and myself are usually always hanging out there, and we're happy to answer any of your questions. I just kind of wanted to throw this out here and share some of my insight and what I thought about the Summoning Druid. I think the class is fantastic. I always feel like I'm kind of carrying the group anytime I play, especially just being able to tie up so many enemies at the same time, keeping everyone safe, and doing a ton of damage. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the guide. Definitely leave a like or whatever. I'm probably not going to do too many videos. I just kind of wanted to share this for the community. I'm not trying to like create a YouTube channel or anything like that. I just wanted to share some of the stuff that I've accomplished and some of the stuff that I've figured out. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching.